Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. This is Tuesday. Y'all see how I still have to ask, like I have to check sometimes. Y'all don't judge me. Don't like we not judge. It's a judgment-free zone. Yes, I don't want y'all to judge me because I didn't know what day it was. I want you to give me a little bit of grace. How are you guys doing? Come on in this room. Now you already know what I do in the first couple of seconds. I'm gonna share. So while I'm sharing, how about y'all share? How about that? Okay. We all sharing and things are gonna be good. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. I hope you had an amazing weekend and that you definitely did something nice for yourself, that you were kind to yourself. You know how I feel about that. It's imperative. So um, I had a good weekend. It was busy, but it was good though. It was not all the way pre-corona busy, nothing like that. But still busy nonetheless. So I was happy about that. Well, I mean, not happy. I feel like I got a lot done, right? So that's the good part. So please, while I'm sharing, you know what we're supposed to do, then you're supposed to share. I used to ask people to share because I'm like, I don't want to seem like I'm begging, but no, I believe this information is so good, so imperative, bigger than me, bigger than you. Just if it can help somebody out, I believe lives are shifted through conversations. I just do. I know I've had some amazing conversations that have shifted my perspective and my thought processes. And so I wholeheartedly believe that conversations can literally light something in you that can change you for the better. So that's the goal, right? Hey mom, how are you? Love you. So I hope that you guys are sharing so that people know that this is the place to come. We're gonna have a good time. All right, so I know there are people that are gonna catch the replay too, so I'm not gonna hold up. I don't believe in doing that too long. So I'm gonna start. So I hope, were you guys here to catch the conversation with me and Lynn on last Thursday? Oh my God. Listen, it was such a good conversation. But like I said, it wasn't her first time on, and we always have a good conversation. Not only is she a therapist, but she's also, a life coach, and she's what I consider a friend. I do, and so like just having these good conversations, and being able to talk about healthy friendships. Right? We assume we all know what they are. We assume we know what that means. And I just don't believe it's something that's automatic. And I don't believe we should keep pretending like we know. I think sometimes people who don't have good knowledge of a thing because they're pretending like they already know. And I think that when we stop pretending and just say, hey, I don't know, like enlighten me, being willing to say, well, I think I know, but what's the definition? Or give me some qualities or traits I need to look out for. I think that's how you shift your consciousness, when you're willing to say, hey, I'm willing to listen. Not that I know this already. I already know that. And then when you're that closed-minded, you're not going to be able to receive anything. So I just learned to shift my life into a thing where I don't know it. I don't know everything. And I darn sure don't know it all. So I can always learn something. And if I think I know something, I can still always learn something. I'm learning that. So yeah, it was an amazing conversation. If you didn't see it, please go back. All my lives are still on Facebook or YouTube, and you can always check them out, the replays. Share them, tag somebody in a comment. I look at everything. So okay, so today, I don't know if you saw what my topic was, but I thought it was a good lean in to what my next topic is going to be about. On Thursday, I have another wonderful, powerful lady coming on named Tori. Man, y'all, they call her Transparent Tea. It's going to be crazy. I'm so excited she's coming. And that's going to be on Thursday. But leading up to Thursday, I figured I think the topic is going to be relationship goals. You know how we say goals, relationship goals, like we see that's that, but more than a hashtag and what that really means, and unpacking that. So today I said I was going to talk about, and last weekend we talked about friendships. So this weekend, friendships. Now we're not going to really talk about friendships this weekend. We're going to talk about acquaintanceships. And I'm going to say that wrong probably twice because I've just learned how to say that word. But basically, one level below friends is what we call somebody we call an acquaintance. Some people call it their associates, just people that's, they know, but those are also relationships, right? The two major relationships we talk about are romantic relationships and friendships. Those are the two main ones. And everything else we act like it's no big deal. But there are so many different levels. And so today we're going to talk about the difference between friendships and acquaintanceships, or friends and acquaintances. And that it's a real type of relationship that we should put real energy into making sure it's healthy. And I'll explain all that as we go, right? Okay. So let me give a couple of definitions. A friend is someone that usually, for the most part, aligns with your principles to some degree, right? You're not going to always have the same exact principles or morals, but for the most part, you'll have it's not going to be somebody that you like, you literally don't agree with anything they say, and they don't agree with anything you believe in. That would be hard for you guys to be friends. But so that's why I said to some degree, you don't have to agree on everything. But so someone that aligns with your beliefs, or principles. And then another big one I like is that they provide you, or you allow them to provide you with wisdom, honesty, and loyalty. I found that definition on the internet and I loved it because I think that just really sums it up well. Because a friend you should allow to give you some wisdom. You should allow them to be honest with you without being offended, and you should have some loyalty to them. Hey, Auntie LA. Hey, John. And so I feel like I want to be clear about that. So again, a friend is somebody who generally aligns with your principles to some degree and provides you with some wisdom, honesty, and loyalty overall to better you, and vice versa to better and vice versa. So while that's what they should be able to do for you, you should be able to do for them, because a friendship is a two-way street. Now, I know I said I wasn't talking about friendships today, but the reason why I have to bring up friendships is because oftentimes when I think we get to a point where we either call people our friends or our enemies. And I think that's so wrong. There's so many middle layers of people and relationships we have in there. And so I want to talk about those. So that's what a friend is. In order to know what a friend is, now we can talk about acquaintance. The difference. An acquaintance is usually somebody that you don't have a form of intimacy with, right? And remember, I told you guys before, intimacy is not sex, right? Intimacy is just the level of closeness, right? And so this could be somebody from your work. This could be somebody from school. This could be somebody that's a neighbor. This could be somebody you see at social events. This can be a friend of a friend. All different types of levels of acquaintances. And so, sometimes people say, well, they're not my friend, they don't matter. And I just don't agree with that. So I just believe that we have to be careful with what we say about it. I'm going to give another example of something. I saw this and I wanted to share this with you. It was kind of cool to hear. So that's why I'm pulling it up. Y'all know I'm a nerd, so I like to look at different things. They were saying that there's like 4 levels of relationships, or 4 stages of friendship. And they said like the first level is acquaintance. The second level is a casual friend who you're a little bit more emotionally attached to. And there's next a close friend, and then there's an intimate friend. So if I had to break it down, I would have to say acquaintance, somebody who, first level is acquaintance. The second level is somebody that you have a little bit more closeness with. You do share some details, but it's not all the way full in, vice versa. A close friend is somebody I would consider those as friends. And an intimate friend is sometimes we call people like our best friend or our sister or our brother, you know what I'm saying? So I believe those are the levels. And so I wanted to mention something that they made as a difference between the friendships and the acquaintanceships. I thought was so good. Y'all tell me if this is wrong, but I'm telling y'all, I heard this and I was like, whoa, this is good stuff. They said to differentiate is how comfortable or how much do you trust sharing more personal details with your life with this person? And the differentiating factor here is that trust. And if you have that, it's usually somebody you can put in the friend category over here. And we're talking about not just telling somebody, let's see, I want to be careful how I say it. Like if you're in a rush and you're like in a stressful situation and then you just had to rush your child to the hospital, even though that seems really like personal details, you would probably tell somebody that, like, if you were in passing, like, they'd be like, girl, you rushing, what's wrong with you? Oh, I had to rush my child to the hospital. And they're like, oh, you might not tell them what happened and all the details, but you'll probably let them know that. And so I don't necessarily believe that's somebody that's close just because in that moment you might have shared that one detail, but I might not tell them, hey, my son's in the hospital because he has asthma and this happened. That's a different level of things, right? So that's one way to differentiate. We're talking about quick ways. There's a lot of different ways, but that's a quick way to figure it out. Another way, I thought this was so good, guys. Y'all know I get impressed easily. And that's why I'm using this word. How concerned are you with impressing this person? And how comfortable are you being your true self around them? I thought that was so pivotal and key. When you consider somebody a friend, I think you stop bringing along the representative, okay? You stop trying to impress them. You're just being you. And that doesn't mean it's a negative thing or ugly thing. It's just meaning they're getting the raw version of you. And without you trying to say, oh, I don't want them to think this of me and think that. That's when you know you're in a friendship or you're in an acquaintanceship. Because I think some of us are still, I think a lot of us are having acquaintance relationships with people we call friends. Y'all, I'm sorry. I feel like my camera, I'm looking in a different direction. I'm really not. You see that light back there? I'm trying to get that light away from me. Okay. So I thought that was so good. I see it so often. People who say, oh, that's my friend, that's my friend, that's my friend, that's my friend. But they're still trying to impress their friends. What? Let's get to a point where once somebody's your friend, that should go out the window. Why am I trying to impress you? I might not want to disappoint you. I might want to, share some good news with you, but impressing, nah. If I can't be my full, true, real self around you, then most likely you're not a friend. Excuse me. I needed to say that. I need y'all to ponder on that. So that's another important one. So I thought those were that was two good, easy, good ways to figure it out, right? If you sit here and say, oh, I can't let them see me like this. Ooh, okay, they're probably not a friend because you're concerned of how they view you. And so you're not just being your real self around them. Or if, like I said, if you can't tell them personal details, you probably, or feel like you can trust them with it, that's not a friendship. Let's see, here's another one. Acquaintanceships, friends of a friend, like I said before, somebody you regularly encounter at a social event. Those are good ideas of things. You see somebody at the park often when you walk your dog. Yeah, just an acquaintance. They were talking about the casual friendship, right? And it's a little bit different because you make plans with them every once in a while, right? These are the people that you might say, oh, let's have lunch or something. But you still don't get too deep. You might say, hey, at a work friend, let's go have lunch. Or a neighbor, yeah, let's go down the street to the function that's down the street. Let's go together and let's go do that together, which means we enjoy each other's company. I still don't know you on an intimate level, but while we are together, we enjoy each other's time, and we choose to be around each other, right? So those type of friends, you probably wouldn't ask to do something that's like you wouldn't put too much commitment on them, like try to ask them to pick you up from the airport at 5 a.m, or you wouldn't, maybe ask for advice on your marriage necessarily, right? So those are type of things to think about. The next level is like the close friendship, and that's what I just consider a friendship, and that's when we decide that we have something in common. We decide that we want to go out to dinner or something together. And then when we realize, oh my God, we have all these things in common. And then we start opening up. Now, because I feel like I have things in common with you, I'm going to open up. And that's when you go further. And that's when you start creating a friendship. And you decide to be able to trust them, or you want to, and have times with them. So again, I'm not talking about friendships, but I'm trying to tell you the different levels so we know. Because even though a certain person might not be a friend, you can still mistreat or have toxic and dysfunctional relationships. Just because they're not friendships doesn't mean that you can't be and show up in a dysfunctional way. So I want to make sure we are being very thoughtful. So here's a couple of dysfunctional ways to know that you're showing up dysfunctionally, right? Here's one. Do not put somebody in a friend category prematurely. That is dysfunctional. Now, a lot of times people say, well, why would you call that dysfunctional, Paris? Because you could do that by accident. You could really look at them as a friend and then realize that they, didn't realize that they weren't. Well, I'm going to tell us that we need to be better at vetting these situations, because what happens is, and I think sometimes we call people our friend because it's just a friendly thing to do, right? We interchange friendly, being friendly with being someone's friend. Let me say that again. We interchange being friendly with being someone's friend. I can be pleasant to you and friendly to you without being your friend, and vice versa. It's important to distinguish the two, because just because we're being nice to each other, just because I think she's a nice person or he's a nice gentleman, does not mean they're my friend. And I know you say, well, why do you have to go out of your way? Because that's rude to say someone's not your friend. No, it's actually very misleading to tell somebody they're your friend or put the friend label on them before you know them. And actually, it's very toxic. I don't know about you, but I've been put in a lot of those situations. And I probably have put people in those situations before too, unbeknownst to me, because I didn't realize the difference at a younger age. But this is why it's important. Didn't we just say that with friendships that you get wisdom, honesty, and loyalty out of it? There's a level of confidence and trust that's there. And so what do those sound like? Expectations. Remember we talked about expectations and how they can ruin a lot of things? There are a lot of people in relationships with silent expectations. And this is a dangerous one. When you put somebody in a friend category before you guys have decided and vetted and put that type of energy into it, then what happens is there's a level of expectation on that relationship that whether you acknowledge it or not, you place there. And vice versa, things that they've placed there for you. And a lot of times that's how people get into offense so easily, because they're like, I don't even really know that person like that. How they so mad, how they this, that. It's because you have called this person a friend before you guys really put some roots in, I mean, I'll give you an example. When you go out to eat with somebody that's a work friend and y'all just enjoy eating together and talking sometimes, and might talk about work a little bit, might talk about, some real surface stuff. And then one day, you don't eat lunch with them, but you eat lunch with another coworker. If they get super offended, then there's a point where we have to have a conversation like, hey, what happened here? Like, that this was not a contract. This is not something we have to do. And it doesn't mean I like you any less. It just means that this was all it was. Or if that person gets offended when you tell them you had a party that was outside of work, then they don't really understand that you're not at that level with them. Maybe you're not comfortable inviting them to your house, and you shouldn't have to feel that pressure to do that, right? You are allowed to have boundaries. So those are a few of that's an example of a situation where um, you didn't really define it, and or you said, hey, this is my friend. And you got to be super super careful about what that means, because definitions matter. We talked about that last week. It matters what's important, or what that person considers and what you consider, and just being clear about not having a whole lot of expectations out of somebody that you don't necessarily consider a friend. I think people get offended too easy when nobody really owed them anything. And that's a harsh truth, but it's a real truth. I'm gonna tell y'all something. 90% of things that people do have nothing to do with you. They have nothing to do with you. Why is that important for Paris to say a couple different times? Well, it's important because sometimes our feelings are hurt, and you don't know why somebody did something. And 9 out of 10 times they're going through some personal stuff. They are, trying to keep their head above water. They're not even thinking about you. And if you make it about you, then you get to a point where you don't even realize that had nothing to do with you. That doesn't mean the person doesn't like you. Doesn't mean that they've been dismissive of you. It just means that they were having a bad day, and give that person grace because they were having a bad day. It doesn't even mean they did anything bad to you. It just means that whatever frame of mind you were in, you got offended. And instead of you dealing with why you got offended, that's a whole other story. We talk about self-awareness. Then you're going to actually place it on them and make them pretty much be responsible for whatever's going on with you, right? So we have to be very, very careful with that, because even though, again, well, that's not my friend, so it's a big deal. Well, then it should be easier for you not to be offended by certain things, right? I learned that the hard way with certain social friends and certain work friends and certain church friends and certain, all different stuff, right? Neighbors, realizing that just because we're friendly doesn't mean you know me, and doesn't mean I know you, and I don't have high expectations. And, whatever I get is an extra, it's a plus, and I'm not mad, but there's still rules to this, right? So that's why we're talking about it, right? So that's one thing. Just be careful. So what was that rule? Don't put somebody in the friend category prematurely. And also don't allow somebody else to do it. I used to let people do that to me all the time. They would call me a friend, and I'm like, I don't even know them. And so then they would start treating me and start expecting me to be like a friend to them. And I know that sounds like, well, Paris, why is that a horrible thing? Well, let's be honest. You have to be honest about if you are capable or willing to be a friend in that moment. And if you're not able to, you shouldn't accept that, because then they're going to be offended because you're not really engaging in an intimate way. You're not spending time. And you have to be very careful about that. Even though you say, well, I never said that to them, but don't allow anybody to put you in that box either. You see, the relationships, again, are two-way. That's why acquaintanceships, acquaintanceships usually can be very one-way. It could be two-way, but that's a best case scenario. But sometimes I find them to be sometimes one-way, meaning I look at it one way, you might look at it a different way. And healthy is that we just don't have these expectations, so we go with the flow. Unhealthy is that there are expectations attached because either we put each other in a friend category, or we did something that we shouldn't have and that crossed the border or a boundary, okay? So that's the first one. The second one is, first, and another thing is, here's just a note. I'm gonna insert this one. Here's an insertion. Clear, concise communication is necessary in any relationship. Any relationship. You might feel like with acquaintanceships, you shouldn't have to do all of that. And while you don't have to give them a thesis about your friend theologies or your moral compass, you still should be able to say, like, if somebody's introduce you as, this is my friend, and be like, you can not even be rude and say, yeah, we just met. This is, we're getting to know each other. That way you can pull back from the weight of the word friend. And I know people are like, well, would you not want to be a friend, Paris? It's not about not wanting to be a friend. It's just, don't premature. Like, I don't even talk about in romantic relationships. I don't like when I'm starting to date somebody and they want to say, this is my girlfriend. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And that's not a commitment issue thing. That's saying, don't put that on me. We don't even know each other. We went on one date and now I'm your girlfriend. Red flag, red flag, red flag. Since it's a red flag in a romantic relationship, why the heck would it not be a red flag when I just meet somebody? We can click. We can say we instantly like each other. That still doesn't mean I know you. And it doesn't mean we signed up to be friends. And these are things you learn as you mature too, because I've done that before. Oh, I had a real good night out with a girl. I know you're going to be my friend. And then realize that just because we hanging out and kicking it does not mean we are friends. Okay. Doesn't mean that, and so to understand what that really means. Hey, Jody, how are you, girl? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you came back. And so we're just talking about the difference between friendships and acquaintanceships, right? And being honest. So clear, concise communication is so important. Here's another one. Being self-aware is so super important. Why? And I talk about this all the time. How can you even worry about being in a relationship with somebody, in a healthy relationship, if you're not in a healthy relationship with the most important person, which is you? And I was going to do a whole live on that. I might still do one next week. We'll see. But, because I don't necessarily think that I do talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. So but let me just talk about it a little bit. If you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, with how you view yourself, how you show up in this world, what trauma filters you're carrying, how you react. If you don't have a clear view of how, like, I know certain triggers I have. Well, I know a lot of them. I did a lot of work. I'm doing a lot of work. I'm in the process. But there are some people who are so scared to even get in the process and they don't know how to show up. And a lot of times, you call that your emotional intelligence. It becomes a point where people say, well, I couldn't control how I feel or couldn't control how I react. And anytime I hear somebody saying that, I say, okay, you're not self-aware. You're not aware of how you show up. Because once you're aware, you can start to say, okay, I don't like this. I don't like that that I can get in this person's environment and then blow up every time I see them. Let's work on that and figure out what that is, right? So self-awareness is very important because it's going to go to this next point of making sure of what we don't do in these relationships. Here it is. Be honest with yourself. We always talk about people lying to us. We always talk about, being deceptive, trusting people. But one of the biggest things I see with these relationships, healthy relationships, is you're not going to be able to have, like, then we talk about friendship. One of the things is honesty. How are you going to have honesty if you're not honest with yourself? It's very important that we get self-aware. And I know most people don't want to own up to the fact that they might not be honest with themselves, but let me tell you how important it is. It's so important that it pretty much prevents any type of deep relationship with anybody. Hey Deborah, hey Jeanette. It's like you definitely you're not going to hear anything right. You're not going to process anything right because you're not honest about where you're at. Okay, so that might seem vague. Let me give you a better example. If you are if you are very insecure, right? If you know you don't have high self-worth, if you don't feel good about yourself, but you walk out the house and you're like, oh, I feel great, I feel wonderful. And then when you hear somebody talking about what great things happen with them and it makes you sad, and then now all of a sudden you're mad at them, or vice versa, if you've seen this, that's usually because somebody's not really being honest with themselves about their situation. And so then what happens is they don't even know why they're mad. They don't even know why they're mad because they're really not processing that they have a real issue with their self-worth and their insecurities. Does that make sense? That's one example. Another example, if somebody is actually doing great things in life, like starting a business or going back to school, having a baby or something, if you're really depressed or sad, or let me go a step further. I have to be careful with what I'm saying. Let's say that you are like in a relationship and you're like super happy, and you're telling everybody you're super happy, but you're really not happy, but you have to keep up the facade of being happy. And then you find one of your friends and they're doing really well in life, like super well. You find yourself having like I don't know why I don't like that person. They seem like they're showing off. They just do too much. You find this reaction you're having, oftentimes it's because you're not really being honest about the fact that you're not really satisfied in your own relationship. And it's causing you to compare subconsciously. And so, but if somebody was to ask you, you'd be like, I'm happy, I'm great, I'm wonderful. You ever hear those people that you ask, what's wrong with you? I'm good, I'm great, I'm wonderful. When the people start that, that's usually a good indication that I need you to believe I'm great. I need you to believe I'm wonderful. I need you to believe I'm secure. And so that's often when I could tell when someone's not really being honest with themselves, which then that means they're not being honest with me, which doesn't offend me anymore, because if you can't be honest with yourself, you darn sure can't be honest with the people around you. And so that's why, again, the difference between the friendships and acquaintanceships, we have to be careful, because if one part of friendship is honesty, then if I can't be honest with myself, I probably can't have any real friendships. And so therefore, I probably sit in a seat of offense more often than not, because I'm getting offended all the time because I have some self stuff that's going on that makes me jealous or envious or angry, or just I'm not honest. I'm not my true self. I haven't let that guard down, and I'm holding this guard up because I don't want to be hurt. And as much as I'm holding this out because I don't want to be hurt, I'm also keeping you from really coming in, and love from coming in, and truth from coming in. I hope that's making sense. I'm trying to give a couple of examples of not being honest with yourself, which will bleed into your relationships. So that's important. Let's see. I like this, what you said, Yanni. You'll always be processing through a hurt and broken issue. Absolutely. Y'all ever have a situation with somebody and it happened and y'all talked about it and everything seemed to be okay, but it seemed like the next time you guys talked, or even sometimes after that, it's like it comes up again and you're like, well, wait a minute, I thought we dealt with it. It was kind of a small thing. When somebody's not truthful about their state in life and what they feel and how they're feeling, and they're not honest with you, they hear things through a broken lens. They see things through a broken lens, and nothing you can do, or the other person, because it could be you that's doing it. Let's be honest, right? Can help that situation. Let me give you an example. When I used to be really, it was one point in time I was super lonely because like everybody around me had relationships. And you know me, I'm gonna just always be honest. Everybody around me had relationships at the time. And I just was like, I don't understand why I don't have a good relationship. I don't understand I have to always be the fifth wheel. I didn't like it. Even though I loved my friends and loved people I was around, I was very insecure. I was lonely. And I didn't know how to be alone. I just felt lonely. So what happened there for me? When people would say things to me about being single, I got defensive. They would say something, and then all of a sudden, every time I would look at them, I'm just like, okay, I literally fell under attack. And so therefore I was on the defense. And so therefore, sometimes people might have looked at me as being really catty or whatever. And it wasn't that I wasn't happy for them. It wasn't that I didn't want to be around them or see them happy. It's just I had unresolved loneliness issues, which is also unresolved identity issues that I definitely did not understand how to deal with. And so they showed up in those relationships. Can anybody relate to that? Because that happened, and I can be honest about that. That was hard for me to admit that that's what it was. And it's not that people like to put the thing, oh, that person's miserable or they're bitter. I wasn't miserable or bitter, but I was sad and I was lonely. And I did not know how to celebrate being around people who were happy or perceived happy. And so I was maybe a little jealous. I just wanted my own, right? So we have to be honest. At that moment, I couldn't really be honest with myself. So I showed up a certain way in a relationship. And then here's another way. When some people say, well, that's normal. Okay, well, if it's normal, guess what I also started to do when I got more mature? Maybe I don't want to be going out with my 3 friends that are married with their husbands or something. Maybe that's not, maybe where I'm at in that moment, I can't handle that. And that's okay. That's called a boundary. That's called choices. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I don't want to go out with y'all, married couples all the time. Maybe I want to find somebody else, like some other single friends that, or maybe a good mixture. You got a choice to do that. You see what the honesty thing happens, how that comes and shows up? So when you're more honest with yourself, then you're more raw, then you can show up. And then any friend that you have, they should understand that if you have that honesty. So I want to just be really, really good. That's something I want to bring up, because I think a lot of people, again, they say they have friendships and they're really not friendships because they don't have the honesty piece. And they're like, oh, well, it's not always the other person. It could be you. You can't really be in a good friendship if you're not honest. Hey, Mama Pat, don't worry about being late. You're not late. No point being late. We all here hanging out. Okay, here's another one. It's very toxic when someone says, hey, these are my friends and I don't deal with or talk to anybody else. Boo-boo kitty. That's toxic. You said, why, Paris? Okay, wait. You said, what's that? What's that? Y'all know we love to sing that song, No New Friends, No New Friends. Or people love to brag and say, I've had this friend for 30 years and that's it. And I don't deal with nobody outside these friends. Or, hey, this is my best buddy. Or these are I only deal with a few people and these are all it is. I don't talk to nobody else. You have that choice. That's your right. That's your prerogative. It is. But let me tell you what you unknowingly do in those situations. Number one, you really can easily fall into an ownership type of relationship. And you're like, well, what is that? In ownership, jealousy is easy to come up. It's kind of like you feel like you own those friends. So much so, you'll get to the point where you are in other friend groups or around other people and say, these are my friends. These are not your friends. Or this is my friend first. Or this is my best friend. You know what I'm saying? She's my friend. And it becomes this thing like, wait a minute, I am a person. I am not property. I'm not a Pokemon card to be traded. And so it's like, we have to be super, super careful to not show up like that, because then it becomes like ownership, jealousy, idol worship. It even gets to that point. It can get, listen, y'all, I'm talking about the extremes, but it definitely can go there. And it's a slippery slope once you start it. You just have to be very careful. And then it gets to, and you run the risk of being rude to people that are outside of your circle, right? You run the risk where I've seen people where to their friends, they're the sweetest, most wonderful person, but to people that's not in this little circle, they're almost like the devil. And it's like, wait a minute, how can you show up and be so kind and wonderful and just available to the people that you really are engaged with, and to everybody else you a demon? To everybody else you rude. To everybody else you snotty, unkind, and bougie. Got to be careful, because guess what that starts? That starts that cliquish behavior. It becomes a point, especially when you're in a certain environment. Like if you're at work and you got your people and then everybody else is just, it becomes really cliquish. It happens in the church environment. Come on, we don't want to go there. It happens in most social places. If you out somewhere and it's like, okay, you get to think. I see it so often. Just because I have my main friend group doesn't mean I can't be friendly to everybody else. Or it doesn't mean if somebody comes up and talks to us, it's a problem. Or somebody says something to me and it's like, oh, I can't believe they said something to us. And then now it's the whole thing. Yanni, the mean girls. Come on, girl. Listen, y'all know, we all know it. We all know it. And it's like they like to portray that they're just such good friends, so good people, so much good people. But when you can allow yourself to be exclusive and not even just exclusive, when you can exclude people, not just from your circle, but exclude them from basic human decency, yeah, you're definitely a mean girl or mean guy. I see guys do it too, but definitely it's ugly. It's ugly. So if y'all find yourself doing that, being rude and mean to people that are not in your group, check yourself because that's ugly. It's very ugly. Also, let's be very clear. It is so necessary for you to have friends outside of your main friend circle. Why? Because we talked about friendship. There's a two-way street there. Like you have honesty, you have wisdom, you have loyalty, all those things that are required two-way. It's a lot to keep up. It's maintenance that's required for a friendship. Listen, most friendships, you're going to go through some stuff and you got to be ready and be there and open and available for those things. But sometimes that's heavy, right? It's not always flowers. And sometimes it can just come with a lot. Sometimes I enjoy a shallow conversation or two. Listen, y'all, unpopular opinion. Paris Johnson, every once in a while, likes a shallow conversation. Yes, she does. You know why? Because I don't have to unpack everything, right? Or I like to just be friendly. I'm a friendly person. Walk up to me, I will say hi. You probably get a smile. How you doing? I just believe in being nice to people. Just because I'm friendly doesn't mean I'm your friend. But I also believe that it's good to be kind to people. I really believe that it is. And so I am going to be kind. So therefore, I'm going to have a lot of acquaintances because I'm going to speak to people. I'm going to say hi to them. I'm going to inquire about their day. And I'm actually genuine in it because I really want to know if they're doing basically well. And if they're not, you never know what one thing you can do to help influence somebody's life or make it better or do something that say something to them that change the whole perspective in their day. And if I can do that, I'm trying to do that. So yeah, I have acquaintances. So we have to be really careful about this idea that, oh, I have my friends, and so I don't need it. I'm dead. I don't see nobody that's not my friend. And I guarantee you have that. You're leaning on your friends too hard. I guarantee, I'm about to talk about that again in a second too. I guarantee you're leaning on your friends too hard. Sometimes it's stuff that you could just have this casual other people. It's good. It's good to have those so that so you evenly distribute it. Yeah, that's the word I think. I love that, Yanni. You say you have multiple groups of friends, all varied degrees. It's so necessary. It's necessary because let me be honest. I don't think I could have I hear some people I got 10 best friends, and I'll be looking at them like, what? How? Because I really, I'm not gonna get ahead of myself, but I'm gonna say anyway. It's so many different levels to it, and I enjoy the complexity or the right to choose between what levels I choose to engage with you. Again, boundaries come up. You get to choose how you engage with somebody. Don't let nobody force you to engage at a level you're not ready. Let me give y'all some real game, okay? This is how grown I am now. I didn't used to be this way. Paris used to be a people pleaser. I wanted to be everybody's friend. I was there for everybody, even if they weren't there for me, because it's just how I was. I thought it was a noble thing, and I burnt myself out, right? But I'll say this. I used to just be overly available, overly just anything. Yes, everything. There was something that happened a year ago or so. And I remember just being really busy. And I remember just not having time for even my people my family, having time for work. I was just exhausted, mentally, emotionally. I was exhausted. And somebody wanted to be my friend. And they were like, hey, you're so cool. and we hung out at this one event, and they were like, oh my God, let's exchange information. I had no problem with exchanging information. And they were just like, oh man, I could just see we could be friends. Let's just get together. And they just really in this moment unpacked the desire to develop a friendship. And then they said something that really was just hard for me. And I know it's going to sound harsh. I hope you guys don't judge me, but hear me out. They were like, oh, I don't have any friends. And so I just need something to do something with. I would love to do something every weekend. And I remember in my head, ding, 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 ding. This bell went off. And I was just like, and I hope y'all know my face is bad sometimes. I hope my face didn't show it, because I was thinking, I was exhausted listening to her talk. Now, this is no shade. She was such a nice person. I know I can talk. She was such a nice person. And I actually think we would have a good friendship. But guess what? I decided not to engage her at that level. And I know some people will be like, well, why Paris? If you said she's a nice person and why didn't you engage her? I didn't engage her because I was exhausted in my life. I had too much on my plate. I was not able to give my own friends, my own child, my own relatives, my work environment. I wasn't able to give everything its proper segments. So how could I knowingly let somebody else connect to me that I wasn't able really to give myself to? Yana, here you go. Listen, I did not have the capacity. I did not. And the old Paris would have took it on. The old Paris would have did it and been exhausted trying to live up to the expectation of this new connection. I would have started to feel guilty because she said she didn't have any friends, and I would have became her crutch. I would have been that person who was like, oh, come on, baby. Come on. Paris is here to be your friend. I'm going to be the super friend. I'm going to show you what the best friend's going to be. I'm going to show you how to do. And I almost begin this competition in my head to show her. I want to show her I can love her. I want to show her what it's like to feel to have a friend. And that was something I've done before. And it is, when I tell you, that comes toxic. And so you got to be very careful. And so I was so proud. I know it sounds bad. I hope y'all understand me and hear my heart. I just believe in quality over quantity. So I wasn't able to give her what she was looking for. I wasn't. And I was going to disappoint her. And I was going to exhaust myself in the process. And so the best thing I could do in that moment, even though it might have seemed harsh, was just to let her know I really wasn't able to connect with her in that capacity. And to be honest with you, I bet you if I saw this girl again, she wouldn't be mad at me. It would just seem like it was a misconnection, because I wasn't rude. And if she ever engaged with me, I spoke with her, but we didn't really go too far. And so I'm really proud of myself, because again, the old Paris would have again just said yes, 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 and allow her to push me there. And I wasn't available. And then now I'm all like, in a situation. Okay. So just want to put that out. Okay. I'm finishing up, y'all. Y'all know I could just talk. Yeah, Deborah, you said too much. Sometimes it's too much. And don't allow anybody to get in your space when you're not ready to. Like if you literally said, if somebody like, hey, let me see now, let me do this now, and you just like feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to step back and say, well, I'm not really in the mood for that right now. But let me take a rain check, or hey, I'm doing a whole bunch right now. I got this. I don't really have the time. Figure it out. Or guess what? No is a complete sentence, baby. Y'all know how I feel about boundaries. No is a complete sentence. Okay. So I think that is just so important to self-regulate and not allow anybody to put you in those expectations. Y'all, expectations are deadly. I don't care what nobody say. They are some of the harshest things I have been dealt with recently. And I think about them, they're in your relationships, especially silent expectations. They're super dangerous. So that's why I'm talking about clear and concise communication. Here's another one I thought was super awesome. Or not awesome, but something, the last one to avoid. This is a toxic type of setup. People that are friends with everyone. And it's like, let's differentiate. You can be friendly with most people and everyone, but not be friends with everyone. Let's be very careful. Very careful. I am friendly, I think, with everyone, or mostly everyone, but I am not friends with everyone. And I don't proclaim to be. When I see people who say that they're friends with everybody, I watch them now. I used to think I could be one when I was younger, but I had to realize what that meant. When I see it now at my maturity level I'm at, I start to notice, and this is something that was in the article I read, the psychology article. It said a lot of times when people have that desire to be friends or call everybody friends, it's usually a selfish thing. And I know you're thinking, well, wait, how is somebody saying they want to be friends with everybody selfish? Well, because it's self-serving. You say, well, how, right? Aren't they being friends to them? Well, they think they are, right? A lot of people don't know definitions. A lot of people, but most times people need to be needed. I'm gonna say that again. People need to be needed. So a lot of times when you see somebody that has that, it's because they need for everybody to say, you know, have y'all ever been around that person like, hey friend, and they literally throwing it around to everybody. Hey friend, that's my friend too. That's my girl. That is my boy. This all my friends, and you just like, you're like overwhelmed because you're like, how are you in a friendship with all these people? Well, the reality, they probably are not. Those are probably surface relationships. If once you get down a little bit further past the initial surface, it's probably not that deep. But the reason they go there is because they do have a need to be needed. That usually comes from an identity issue, right? That's because I don't feel whole. And so I, in turn, need you to give me something that you have to make me feel whole. I need you to say you need me, and that makes me feel good. Have y'all ever had somebody like, let me tell y'all something. I definitely have to be very careful with this because I get accused of, it's so funny because I used to be super clingy and super people pleaser. And so now people are like, oh, now you have commitment issues. I don't. That's not it at all. I think I just prefer to have defined quality relationships that I'm willing to commit myself to put roots into and have depth. That's my preference. I can be friendly with everybody, but I'm very careful about entering covenants and relationships with people. And we all should be a little bit more careful so we won't have these misunderstandings. Because again, I don't need to be needed. Listen, I got a whole son and I never needed him to need me. You feel me? Let's go there. We're not talking about parenthood right now, but let's be clear. It's a lot of, like, there are people I even believe that have kids so they can be needed. There are people in romantic relationships because they want to be needed. There are people in friendships because they need to be needed. And that's an identity issue. That's something with them. I digress because that's a whole nother lie. But just know that that's one thing. There's a lot of reason when you see somebody with the friends, it's friends with everybody. And then the other one is they like to be in the spotlight. You ever see those people that just seem like they're the celebrity? They walk in the room, hey, that's my friend, that's my buddy. It's like it feeds this alter ego. It feeds this attention. It's an attention seeking thing. Like, it's like, I want everybody to say I'm their friend. So therefore I'm going to put them in these categories so that when I get around, now I got this group of people that all identify as my friend. And now I'm in the middle and we could do this wonderful Disney dance. Y'all know I'm a little dramatic, but that's real. I see it so often. I even see it on social media. You know, people get all friends and they want to, you know, share with all these people, and to them it feeds them when they get the certain amount of likes on their posts and they get a certain amount of likes on the pictures. Like, it's like this creation of this idea that, oh, they like me. It's self-serving. So I'm very cautious of the person that's friends with everyone, because you're not possibly friends with 3,000 people. I know that's not a number. Just go with me. You're not. Remember I talked about the burnout? Burnout comes really quickly. I'm not going to give you a number of people that you can really be true friends with, because that's on you. You know what your capacity is or not. And however you do with it is whatever you deal with it. But I will say, think about, again, a definition of a friend is honesty. Somebody that could be honest with me, somebody that can share wisdom with me, someone that has loyalty, and and that we have a two-way street of these things, not just one way, it's both ways. That's a lot, and it takes maintenance. And so, again, you have to be really careful about these. Listen, I love you what you said, Yanni. You said we have a perverted definition of friend. We have a very perverted, and because we have a perverted definition of friend, it causes so many misunderstandings. It causes so much heartbreak. It causes so much offense. It causes let's go here, manipulation. Okay. I see so much manipulation amongst friend groups. Oh, who you talking to over there? Or, if you were my friend, you wouldn't do this. Or, if you were my friend, and it's like, whoa. So we have to be careful with what we use as a definition and then abide by it and not be scared of what people might say. I no longer subscribe to the idea that I have to have everybody has to be my friend. Listen, I used to think that I thought if you were a nice person, everybody wanted to be a friend. I quickly figured out that that's not true. My self-esteem is not going to be impacted by whether you choose me. Yanni, you said that it's the pick-me syndrome. Come on. Do you understand me? You know what I mean by this pick-me syndrome? Oh, me. Be my friend. My friend. I qualify for your friendship, right? Please. Me. And then if you don't pick them, then it's immediate sadness. And, I don't know what I did to do, what I do. Baby, whether you want to be my friend or not, that doesn't define me. Now, if I literally did something wrong, we can talk about that and deal with that. But honestly, just off the measure of you even desiring to have friendship with me, that doesn't define who Paris Johnson is. And it shouldn't define who you are. So we have to, again, we talked about that self-work. You have to do that self-work. That the most important relationship in all that is a relationship with self, so that you can have that comfortability in your own skin, so you're not needing some exterior validation. You're not needing people to friend you. You're not needing people to claim you, So yeah, let's be very careful with that. I think I'm done. Hold on. I have one other thing to say. Blah, 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 blah. Choose carefully your friends. Choose people who you walk into relationship with. And it's okay to put people in the acquaintance category. It's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean they're less than. I have some amazing acquaintances that I'm just not at a friend level with yet, not because I don't want to be, because we're just not there in that stage of our relationship. Just like you could have just met a person, a romantic interest, and you could think they're a great, amazing person. They're like, well, why y'all not in a relationship? I met them 3 days ago. I thought you said they were great. They are great. I don't have to be engaged to them tomorrow. They'll be great in 3 months. Don't allow anybody to push your timelines. Don't allow anybody to speed up. Because a lot of times I see when people try to force and push something, it's one thing when something is organically going fast. That's fine. But if people are forcing you to be in a deeper relationship prematurely, no, red flag. That means that they're trying to hurry up and get past you really getting to know something about them that they don't really want to be revealed. Okay? Listen, slow. I like slow and steady. However it goes is cool. Sometimes I found myself, some go too fast. I kind of put the brake on it a little bit. I don't stop it completely, but I put the brake on it a little bit just so I can wait a minute. I don't want to be caught up. You feel me? I want to know what's going on. I want to be sober-minded. It's important for me to be, every relationship I'm in because I want to be. I'm not swept into it. I'm not caught up. That stuff used to be cute back in the day when we were younger. Every relationship I'm in because I want to be in it. I'm putting in energy into it. I'm working on, and guess what? That person, if I'm in relationship with them, they can check me and say, hey, where you been? And I can be like, you know what? I'm so sorry. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, girl, come on, let's go. Or, okay, bro, whatever. Only be in relationship when you want to. Y'all, I'm empowering y'all. Y'all have that choice, okay? So it's okay. So as we're talking about only being in relationships you want to, that means you're gonna have more acquaintances than you are friends. And be okay with that. I have lots and lots of acquaintances. I have few friends. And that's not a bad thing. And I'm not sad. It's a really good thing. That means I have a few core solid relationships that I put energy in and I have to maintain. And then everything else is like, okay, it comes at certain levels. And I'm good with those things. I'm really good with those things. Okay. And then here's the last one. Honesty is someone says, someone said this and I love it. They said, be careful with how you choose your friends or who you enter a relationship with, is because whoever you do enter in a real relationship is, sometimes their drama becomes your drama. And the reason I say that is because even if you don't mean for it to happen, when you care and love somebody, whatever their situation is, you some kind of way get drawn into it. Even if you're not like inserting yourself in, you might, if they're in a dangerous situation, you get worried. If they're sad or they're in a financial, you might stretch yourself to try to help them out because you want to be there. You got to be careful. You have to choose wisely, because sometimes, I don't want to go here, but this is an extreme. Sometimes you get in a situation with somebody that's really in a bad situation. It can be deadly. You know, there have been a few cases I've heard about somebody being there for somebody else, and then a fatal situation happens because they're being friends. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have been friends with that person. I'm just saying be super careful. Choose wisely, okay? Choose wisely who you want to be around. You know, trust your gut feelings. I believe in God, so I trust the God in me to help me make these decisions. And then, like I said, just because somebody's not your friend doesn't mean that you can just treat them anyway. No, you still have to be kind, still show up, still be present. If I'm with an acquaintance, I don't care if my friend walks in the room. I'm not going to all of a sudden be rude to my acquaintance. If this is somebody that I'm sitting here and have a conversation with, just because my friend come in now, I'm going to treat them rude and be all bogus. No, remember we talked about that cliquish stuff? No, not me. And any real friends won't require me to do that. Just be a good person. Just be consistent. There's a rule. Relationships, we live and we thrive by relationships. Let's just do them better. We're going to all get them wrong sometimes. That's okay. But let's just strive to be better at them. So I hope this helped. I hope this was good. Listen, y'all know I like to talk. I just hope that I gave you something to think about, I really just want us to be better. We should be trying to be a better version of ourselves every single day. And these are the type of conversations we need to have, right? So I love you all. Listen, if you just came on, I'm getting off now. So listen, an hour and 5 minutes, geez. That stuff got good. Sorry. Please watch the replay. And if you're watching the replay, type replay so I can know. Nobody ever types it, but that's okay. And share. Please share with somebody. You never know who could use it. Please share it with somebody. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Thursday, y'all don't want to miss Thursday. Thursday gonna be so dope. Please come on Thursday. Invite somebody Thursday. Please. I appreciate that. Y'all have and y'all know what I gotta say. You are enough. You are enough. You're enough to invest in the discovery of how you show up in your relationships. You're enough to invest the energy in figuring out what a healthy relationship looks like. And you're enough for choosing right on who you go into a relationship with and putting up boundaries if you need to. You're enough. You have the right to do that. You're worth it. You shouldn't feel bad. You shouldn't take any and everything. A yes is a yes and a no is a no. All right. I love you guys. Oh, also, if you want to get one of the shirts, you see I got one of them on. And I got another one dropping soon, y'all. Don't sleep on these shirts, y'all. I told y'all I'm about to keep it going. You are enough. And don't let anybody else tell you. Get the shirt. Let that be your ministry. Let you wear that and let somebody that's out there in the street know that they are enough as well. All right. I love you guys. Have a great day.